Okay, we're going in order this week. Getting ready for Lent 3, year A, the 8th of March, 2026. We're going to look at Exodus 17, the first eight verses. God can't stand grumbling and quarreling, and neither could Moses. In chapter 16, the people have just come through the Red Sea, and they're not getting to the promised land as quickly as they thought they ought to, and they get really mad at Moses, and they say, we had way better food in Egypt. Why'd you take us out? We want to go back. And God just cannot stand this grumbling, and so that's when he gives them manna. And so here in chapter 17, and God is really clear about what they're supposed to do. They can only take as much as they and their households will eat in a single day, except on Sabbath, they're supposed to take 2 days worth because they can't go out on the Sabbath and gather. He's not going to send any manna on Sabbath because they're not supposed to do any work. So he gives them extra 1 day a week so that they can have it. And so he provides for them, even though he's really frustrated with how they're behaving. He continues to take care of them. So here in chapter 17, they're still journeying. They're not getting to the promised land. And the people are quarreling. And he's just you can just kind of imagine him saying, oh my gosh, God, seriously, why? Why did you put me in charge of these people? They're so frustrating. I feel like, parents go through this. Every day it's something new. They've got some big problem, something's not right, and they just can't handle themselves at all. And so Moses is really frustrated, and he cries out to God, what shall I do to this people? They're getting ready to stone me. And so Moses is really frustrated. The people are really frustrated. God is really frustrated, but God remains in charge. And God has a plan to deal with this. And so he tells Moses, get your staff that you used to split the Red Sea, and go over to this place that I'm going to show you. And I want you to hit that rock. I'm going to be there. Hit that rock and it'll provide water. The people in chapter 17, they want water. They're really thirsty. They're out in the middle of the desert. And I think, that's reasonable. If you're out in the middle of a desert, you need water. God had given them bread, and now they want water, and they're really upset. And so God says, yep, I got you. And so Moses is obedient this time. There's another time when the people are complaining, and God says, go to this rock, and he's not supposed to hit it, and he does. And when that happens, that's why Moses isn't allowed to actually enter into the promised land once they get there, because he was disobedient to God in that way. But this time God says, hit the rock, and Moses hits the rock. So we're good here. We've got listening to God and obedience. And so water comes out of this rock. God can do whatever he wants. He's the master of creation, and creation obeys him. Water doesn't come from a rock. You can't take a rock and make water come out of it to drink, unless God wants it to be that way. And so God did a miracle for these people to show them that even though they are stiff-necked, obstinate, disobedient, ungrateful, and just generally awful, they're still his people, and he loves them and cares for them and is going to take care of things. So they get water. Moses names this place Massa and Meribah, which means, where are we? Verse 7, test and quarrel. Because that's how the people were. They were testy, and they were testing Moses's patience, and they were quarreling with him and with God. So that's what's going on here. I just had another thought. The people who escaped, who were delivered from Egypt, wandered around for 40 years. Why? 40 years is 2 generations of people. The people who had come out of Egypt, they and their parents and their parents' parents and their parents' parents' parents, they had all been slaves for hundreds of years. It takes 2 generations to get past a slave mentality. These people are so ungrateful at having been delivered from slavery that they want to go back. Part of the reason that God kept them wandering around in this very small area, which really would not have taken anywhere near 40 years to cross, part of the reason God kept them going around in circles is because it takes 2 generations to get past a slave mindset and to realize what it means to live free and to develop your own culture and to live under the authority of a ruler who has your best interest in mind. And so that's kind of what's happening right here in chapter 17. God has to teach them, I didn't design you for slavery. You need to get past that and stop wanting to go back to it. But they didn't know how to trust. And so this chapter kind of gives us an insight into what it looks like when people have been abused or enslaved or, had generational trauma and lack of freedom. It takes a while to move beyond that. And so God is showing them, you can get beyond that. Just keep trusting me. I'm going to take care of you. And so that's the message for us today too. Even though we are believers and our future eternity is sure, we sometimes still get enslaved to our sin or to whatever the world has to offer. And so we want to surrender that to Christ and return to him, keep our eyes on him instead of whatever it is that is causing us to say, ugh, what I have right now is not good enough. I want to just chuck it all. We can't do that. We have to stay grateful and stay trusting that the Lord is going to continue to deliver us and to lead us to our promised land, to himself.